Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another video. So today's video is going to be another indoor build where we are going to be creating a kind of like theatre and bar themed around Oswald and kind of all the items we got with him, but mainly kind of just going with this really like nice gold and black art deco theme. So I decided to create both a theatre and like a cocktail bar to kind of match each other, and I did these inside the pink castle as I had spare rooms in here and it is in my theme park, so it just kind of made sense. I wanted these to feel like somewhere that adults would go when they're at a Disney park or something like that to hang out, but it has that really old school retro feel. So we will get started. It is going to be a quick one, as it is only 2 rooms, but I hope you enjoy nonetheless, so let's get into it. So in the first room we are going to be creating the theatre. Now there's been so many different ideas and designs of an Oswald theatre, so by no means do I think this is probably that far different to those. So I did want to create something that I really loved and was unique to how I wanted to design it, but by no means is it a new idea. I know a lot of people did these when we first got Oswald and I really loved seeing other people's interpretation of this. I just felt like it had got to the point in my valley where I'd managed to get all the items from Scrooge and get Oswald to level 10, so I felt like I was ready to just create this and have it in my valley somewhere as something that can stay here for a really long time inside one of the premium shop houses. But I started off with putting in the really nice gold and black art deco flooring. It just complements everything really well. I then decided to put some of the art deco posters that we got from the premium shop along the walls. I wanted this to feel like when you're in a movie theatre and you get all the different posters of the different movies, and I did them in this like diagonal design where they slowly went down because I wanted it to give the optical illusion that it's kind of like a room that is staggered on stairs. Like, you know, when you go into a movie theatre and you start right at the top and then all the seats go down and down and down and down till you get to the screen, so that obviously everyone in the movie theatre can see everything. That was kind of the way I thought about it. I wanted it to kind of be a bit of an optical illusion. Obviously in game it's so hard to do that because everything is just on a one flat surface, especially indoors. So I kind of did that to mimic that idea. Obviously there's only so much you can do, but that was just my thought behind it. Once I put those in, I then went in and started adding all the other furniture pieces I know I was going to be using. A lot of red rugs to kind of make this like kind of catwalk area, and then started figuring out where I wanted to put all the different furniture and lay out the theatre itself. Something I did debate using in here was the stage that we got from Olaf, I think it was, which is just this kind of like metal frame with the red curtains. I did debate using that as kind of my like stage screen area, but I actually decided it was a bit too big and bulky, so I decided to put in some of the red curtain wallpaper just on this wall, and then the other walls were just completely black. And I started figuring out how I was going to display this kind of like show area. It was really difficult to figure out. There were a few items that I looked at that I felt like would have made really good kind of like movie screens, but none of them really went with the vibe I wanted to go for, and I wanted to do something that I hadn't seen before and was just really different. So I kind of figured out how I was going to do that and maneuvered everything around, and as you will see as we go forward, I do decide on a very different design to go for this, but I really love how it looks. As you can see, I've decided to go for like an outer space theme for this show, and I wanted it to really feel like people were watching something that was a bit different from the vibe, kind of was one of those really old school movies where you'd have kind of this weird kind of look into the future at like 2020, and people at that time would have imagined there would be aliens and flying cars and stuff like that. That was kind of my inspiration behind it. I do go in later before I do the walk around and I dress the mannequins up to kind of reflect a story, and I just decided that was just the theme I wanted to go for, and I feel like the star look and the outer space look really complemented it well before I moved on to the second room, which is our cocktail bar. Now in here I again went with the Art Deco flooring. I did play around with the wallpaper, but in the end I do go back to the same like patterned black wallpaper. It just looks so good in here. The dark theme looks amazing, and I started figuring out what kind of layout I wanted to do in here. I knew I wanted to have like a bar area because we have those really gorgeous furniture pieces where we have the hanging wine glasses, and we also have the kind of like beverage stand, I guess it is, and I obviously wanted to include like tables and chairs and seating in here, and obviously a kind of like piano music section to kind of mimic when you'd be in like a jazz bar. So I started looking at the furniture I had, putting it out and figuring out how I was going to make the layout work and how I could structure everything to kind of fit all those different elements in. Once I popped out the majority of the things I wanted to use, I realised that space in here was going to be quite tight, so I decided to start figuring out the like bar section. I used some of the black modern counters to create like just a really simple bar. Obviously the black counters just fit perfectly with the build itself, and I knew I wouldn't need that much space on the bar to kind of display things, so I started figuring that out, figuring out the layout of how that was going to work. I placed in a mannequin behind the bar because I obviously wanted to dress them up and have them be the bartender, which I do go in and do later. But to kind of figure out this area of the bar meant that I could then look at the rest of the room, see what items could go up on the bar and how I could rearrange the existing items that were left. Now after this, as you can see, I've kind of figured out the table section and where the piano is going to go in the corner. I had to really kind of look at the tables and rearrange them a lot of times because I knew there wouldn't be much space in here, and I did want this to be able to kind of be functionable. So I figured out the different chair styles we had and these really nice blue and gold tables and chairs, and figured out how I was going to rearrange them, and obviously moved a mannequin over to the piano. I kind of had the idea I wanted there to be a kind of like jazz singer in the bar, so I decided to pop that there ready. And I also got out the microphone that we got, I think it was with Ursula, maybe with the bundle, I can't quite remember, but it's just this like tall microphone stand. I did pop that next to the piano at some point to really give it that kind of like bar music vibe. I also started dotting other things on the counters and figuring out what was going in the other corner. I decided to use the gold popcorn machine. Obviously I had used this already in the theatre, but it just tied it all together to have that in here as well, because I still wanted this bar to feel like a bar you would go to before going into the theatre to watch something or afterwards. So it obviously had elements of the theatre in it as well. So here is the final rooms. First off, we are obviously in the theatre. As you can see, I've dressed up the mannequins to be in a kind of space outfit, as if it's a space alien meeting like kind of a royal prince or something like that. That was kind of the vibe I went for. We've got the 3 chairs on either side with the lamps and table stands next to them to kind of be our main seating area. We obviously have the Art Deco posters staggered up the wall with some lighting between them. We have the really nice plants that have come back in the premium shop this week in the gold pot. We obviously have the popcorn machine in the corner, and we have a table on the other corner, and I've popped some popcorn on those just to kind of add that in. I've obviously used the old school camera on top of the red rug to make it feel like this was recording the kind of performance or giving them kind of other special effects, but this is kind of how the room looks, and I really love the vibe in here. After that, we move on to our theatre bar. Now, I love this room. I think it's just so engaging. I obviously dressed up the mannequin behind the bar to wear the Oswald suit, and the one by the piano is in the really beautiful bell dress. I just felt like it fit in here as kind of like a fancy jazz singer dress. I don't know why, but it just did. I used some of the sword in the stone windows because they just tie in beautifully with the white and gold, and again have that starry look like in the other room. We have the piano with the microphone and the harp in the corner, a popcorn machine on the other corner with some of the Toy Story stars above them, which are really nice when they're lit up. And then obviously we have our tables with food and drinks and things like that on them. I wanted to again include a lot of popcorn, but again added drinks and things that kind of looked as similar to cocktails as I could get along the bar. So here are some shots of the final build. Obviously both rooms I really love. I think the bar is my personal favourite just because it was something I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but I think having both rooms together just complement each other so well. It feels like you would go to one or the other in between each other, and I just feel like it'd be a really nice place to hang out, and I really love the old school atmosphere, and I'm really glad I got to use all of Oswald's furniture that we got in both Scrooge's as well as with his quests, and I really loved utilising those in these builds. So that is it for the video. As I said, it was quite a quick one because it was only the 2 rooms, but I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I really love having these rooms in one of my premium shop houses, and they definitely will be staying in here. I feel like they just complement each other really well, and I feel like at one point they would be really good for a dream snap maybe one day, but for now I'm just going to have them in here and kind of enjoy looking at them every so often. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video and it gave you some inspiration for how to use these items, and if you have anything you think I should change or rearrange in here, let me know it down below in the comments. And if you have anything particular you want to see on the channel, again let me know because I'm always happy to hear your suggestions. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.